Mr. Beck here. Today we're just going to be going over how to open your first project in Adobe Audition, specifically for recording a podcast. The first thing you're going to do is definitely don't have a desktop as messy as mine. This is absolutely ridiculous. Don't get to this point. Kids, stay in school and clean up your desktop. That's the two pieces of advice I have for you. Second thing you're going to want to do is create a new folder. This is where you're going to be saving your project, so it doesn't really matter what the folder is called, but what really matters is that you know where it is. So I'll just call it Mr. Beck's Audition Projects, more than one, right? Because we're going to love this so much. We're going to have so many more projects to do. Okay, again, doesn't really matter, just know where that folder is. Then we're going to go to Creative Cloud and open Adobe Audition. For those of you that are on a PC, this might look a little different to you. Just however you opened all your other Adobe programs, do it the same way. Just this time we're opening Audition. Okay, and then we get to our workspace here. We're going to go File, New. Always go multi-track session. Do not mess with audio file. Do not mess with CD layout. Let's go multi-track session every time. Let's call this podcast intro Mr. Beck, okay? Because this is the first, the first project we're going to be doing is a podcast intro. Then make sure we go browse and we go find that folder that we just set up. It's going to create a random folder for you, but just so we absolutely know it, let's put it in the folder that we set up. Choose, boom, easy. And all your content's going to be saved here. If you're going to import any new audio files, make sure it's also in this folder. Keep all the folders in the same place. That way it will save you the headache of losing them in the future, because Adobe won't know where they are unless you keep them all in the same place. For those of you that get super into podcasting, you may want to also get an external hard drive and save it on there. Although audio does not take up nearly the same amount of space as video, it is handy to have an external hard drive, because then you really absolutely do not have to worry about having enough space on your laptop or tablet or whatever. Okay, the first thing we want to do is pick the podcast template. Just make sure your bit rate's at 44100. Your sample rate is at 44100 hertz. Your bit rate is at 16. These are not the kind of highest quality levels, but they're the best for podcasting, because every podcast provider, like I don't even know, like Apple or Spotify or whomever, supports both of these. So this is kind of the best to have all your podcasts at. And then for mix, we're going to do stereo, but you could, if you wanted to, go to none and then customize it. Again, make sure 44100, put that to 16, and you could go mono if you wanted. Let's briefly talk about the difference between mono and stereo. Mono is super simple. Just whatever you record is going to come through both ears. Okay? So whatever you record is going to come through both ears in the exact same way. If someone has a right headphone in and just a right headphone in, they'll hear the exact same thing as if they just had the left headphone in. This is the same thing for a big stereo where there's a left and a right speaker. If we go stereo, this is for when you want the person to hear something slightly different in the right headphone versus the left headphone. So many songs are designed and recorded in stereo, so you'll hear slightly different things through both headphones, and it gives you, I would say, like a kind of more detailed and a lot cooler sensation when you're actually listening to music. Most songs are recorded in stereo and designed to be listened this way. That's why if you have one headphone in, you can often just be missing out. So that's why when you put it into podcast default, it defaults into stereo. If you want to actually know what it's like to hear stereo, check out the song What You Say by Jason Derulo. I'm sure many of you know Jason Derulo, the TikTok king, if you will. You probably don't know the song because it's older than dirt. Some of you were, 1, 2, 3 years old when it came out. So the first 10 seconds of the song, I'm not going to play it because you won't be able to hear it, but go check it out on your own. The first 10 seconds of it, you hear different things through both of your headphones. He goes, whatcha, 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 and you hear it through your right and your left headphone, and it creates a pretty wild sensation. Pretty cool, so go check it out if you have headphones on. The other thing that you could check out is the virtual barbershop. This is really cool. It's designed for headphones, and if you close your eyes, it actually feels like you're in a barbershop. So you'll hear scissors on just through your right ear, and you'll hear a voice coming through your right ear, and then when he comes around to cut the left side of your head, you'll just hear it through your left. This looks like an absolute crap video, and I'm sure none of you are interested, but it has 39 million views. Views don't lie. Look at that. People are still making comments in the last 2 years. So it's a pretty sweet video. I would never, lead you astray. I may be old, but I'm not that old. I still hopefully know what the kids find cool. So check out either one of these videos if you really want to know what Stereo is about. That's a little bit of an aside. Again, when we're setting up our project, session name, whatever you want to call it, make sure you go browse and you find that folder that you set up earlier, and just for our purposes, just go podcast template. If you ever record music, that's a whole nother thing. We won't get into that in this module. Press OK, boom, you got your session. You have a bunch of different tracks. They've labeled them for us. We can relabel these, so it doesn't matter. But whenever you have a new sound, you want to put it on a new track. And then you can zoom in and out like this, so you can see all your tracks. Anyways, this is just the basics of setting up your new project.